All right, now we're going to talk about how to create a case. So here we are in our home page. We've got the cases box here, and you've got this button that says new, and so that is one way to create a case. There's a few, and so if we click new, it brings up a box, which is the place where you fill in the information to create a case. Other ways that you can create a case is you'll see here. There's the cases tab. If you click on that, takes you in, and there's a button here that says new, and it's the same thing, creates that same box. And then lastly, if you click on this caret, it brings up recent records or lists that you viewed that were cases, or you can click here to create a case. So Salesforce gives you a lot of ways to do that. Each thing that you might want to do, there's usually more than one way to do it. So here we'll click new. And so then this is the field. These are the fields that you fill out, and on the left you've got the required fields with the star. So being that you are creating it, you're the case owner. You have to determine. You will designate the origin of the case. So if it's you're submitting a case to a teammate or colleague, that's internal, and you can choose internal. If it's coming from a client request, the client can do that directly through the portal. That's as we go live and the clients get their portals, they'll be able to initiate cases that way. Otherwise, if a client calls you, you would choose the origin as being the client phone. The client emails you, client email. So if you need to create a case to direct some work to somebody else coming off of a client phone call or email, you would choose one of these. And then if there's a case that is not about a client, but it's external, somebody externally is asking for something, you'd create external non-client as your source. Status, it'll default to new, and that's fine when you're creating it. Status notes is not required, and this is really intended to be used by the person who it's assigned to keep updates about the progress of the case. Then priority, we have 3 priority levels: low, medium, and high. If it's low, we will say that we should have this resolved within 3 business days. So if it's Friday morning, you have until Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning. Medium would be 1 business day, and high is within 4 business hours. And so you set a priority level, which we also return. Many industries refer to that as a service level agreement. So they're sort of used interchangeably, but a priority or service level agreement, or SLA. And then we require that you provide a subject for the name for the case and also a description of what is needed. And then the web information is a Salesforce field that we're not using. If we could take it off, we would, but we can't, so it's on the screen here. Then the non-required fields are over here. So if you want to assign an individual user, which many times you will, it's a lookup field. You would just type in the first few letters, and it'll search and pull up people that are in our system. And so here I'm just assigning it, in this case, to myself. If it's related to a person account, then you would just type that in here. Again, it's a lookup field. You could find a client. You'd find a client name if the case is related to a client, and so you'd add that there. And then alternatively, if it's a business client, we wouldn't necessarily put in, say we are representing 3M. It doesn't do us much good to put 3M in as the account name. And so what we might want to instead do is put in the business contact name, so the person at 3M with whom we're working, and that is to be added here. And then and these are not required. So if it's not regarding a client, you don't need to put that in. And if you want it to go just automatically to the queue based on the case type that you choose to assign it to, you can do that instead of an individual user. If you do choose a case type, we have various case types and subtypes, and there's another Trainual on this that you can watch to get more information on assigning case types and subtypes. They will oftentimes assign it to automatically go to a queue unless you otherwise assign it to an individual. And it's not mutually exclusive. You can do both case types and assign users. But if you don't have a case type, you must assign a user. And so that, in a nutshell, is the creating of a case. So once you've completed the required fields and any other that you choose to, you hit save, and that case will be created.